Okay. So today, guys, what I'm going to focus on with everybody here is I'm going to give you guys a message here that I want you to pick one thing that you hear. If you hear more than one thing that you can then use it. That the next time you meet with your team, the next time you meet with your leadership students, there's something in this message today. The next time you do content, Matthew, you can use something in this message today for inspiration or motivation. You have to remember that a lot of times when you do your staff meetings and calls, you work with your leadership kids, you are a person of inspiration. You're a person that you hope has the ability to be an aspiration for other people, okay? And those are two different things. And you are a mentor. There's If you're a true leader, you guide, you govern, you guard, you're a mentor. So today I'm going to give you a message that's really designed for you to pick something from it that you can use with your next leadership message with your staff or your members, all right? Then after that, I'm going to switch the conversation. I'm going to show you a baseline organization chart for a martial arts business. There's three or four of you guys right now who are focusing on restructuring a little bit of your organization in your company and want to just give you some concepts to let that linger so you can kind of pick the right direction for your business. Okay. So, everybody with me? Ready to rock and roll? And then we'll rapid fire any questions you guys might have here at the end of it. All right. And I am going to give uh, credit for a lot of the message today to one of my favorite virtual mentors who's passed away. Great voice, love his voice. I love listening to his audiobook. I've got a few of them on my phone right now. I'll share with you later. But a guy named Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar was famous for saying you can have anything in life you want as long as you help enough people in life get what they want. And I really believe that's a true message. Inspiration and motivation feel good. They're temporary emotions. The real magic happens when those feelings transform into discipline and consistent action. One of the messages I learned from Chuck Norris is discipline is a key ingredient for success in life. Anyone who has enough discipline can go and change anything in their life in front of them. I learned that when I was a kid from Mr. Norris. I believe that to be true. I believe the missing component of that is consistent discipline compounded with time. Everybody here can have a great diet for a day, maybe a week. 90 days, challenging. So today or this week, I want you guys to really focus on rising to a better version of yourself. Not because you feel inspired for one time or one moment. Anybody can feel that for a second, but because you'll take deliberate action regardless of how you feel today and regardless of how you're going to feel tomorrow. Think about this with your working out. Think about this with your diet. Think about this with your phone calls, work in your marketing booths. Whatever your mood is, and no apologies to this, but fuck your mood. Probably don't say that to your leadership kids. But moods come and go, they're temporary. Inspiration, motivation feel good. Discipline gets you the body. Discipline gets you the wallet. Discipline gets you the relationships. Discipline gets you the life with consistency compounded with time. I see many karate school owners, they're waiting for the perfect moment. They're waiting for someone to knock on their door. They're waiting for somebody to open the door. They're waiting for somebody to walk into them, waiting for that phone to ring. They're waiting for the perfect feeling, the perfect moment, the perfect circumstances. Perfect doesn't happen, guys. You cannot just see the opportunity, you got to take the actions. So let's stop asking dumb questions. Aaron, I was told there's no dumb questions. Whoever said that to you was a dumb person. They were ignorant. They were uneducated. They didn't know what to say, so they just said something dumb. So stop asking dumb questions because leadership and sales will change your life. And by the way, everybody on this call, you claim to be a leader and you are trying to train leaders. Yes or no? You guys even have a leadership program. Leaders do hard things. Leaders do not run from conflict. Matter of fact, leaders are the ones who actually look for it because they're the ones who can solve it. Conflict's not bad. Conflict is we don't agree and we have to find common ground. Martial arts, we like conflict in the ring because we have control. We don't like conflict out of the ring because we lose control because we don't have skills. So how do we learn those skills? You got to change your mindset. You cannot have a broke mindset. You can't ask dumb questions. My owners on the call, we got to ask better questions. The quality of your questions determine the quality of results. So we got to stop thinking small. Someone made a post on one of the groups the other day. I think Matthew saw it there too. Someone said charging $1,800 a month for mentorship. I've spent $3 million on mentorship. I made a 7, 8 times return on that. When you look for low cost investment or a zero cost investment, you know what you end up getting. What you should be doing is looking how to pay people more, not less. Your students should want to find a way to pay you more, not less, because the value, and let me prove to you guys, some of you guys on this call know people that I will not name, but I'll talk around a little bit because I don't want to talk about somebody if they're not present. But I have clients that are former clients that are making less money today than they were when they're working for me. As a matter of fact, 100% of clients who do not work with me make less money after they stop working for me. Some of you guys who do work with me, proven true, the times you don't talk to me as much, you make less money. True or not true? And so here's the thing is, money is a sign of respect of how much you're showing people value. I'm not talking about gimmicks. I'm not talking about doing quick fixes. You want a process, you want a system you can count on. Just like if a class is at 4 o'clock, the students should know that you start class at 4 o'clock, not 4:07. If class ends at 5, it ends at 5 o'clock, not 4:59, not 5:02. Leadership and sales will change your life. Your ability to use influence, your ability to be a strong leader, and do not run from conflict because you have skills. So here's the truth. Fear never goes away. Fear never goes away. Get used to it. Move forward anyway. My dad gave me a book years ago. It was the easiest book I ever read. And there's a part two to the book, which is kind of amazing. But the book literally was you're going to have people that you love and care about hurt you hard. Love anyway. You're going to have friends betray you. Love them anyway. You're going to have people take advantage of you. People steal from you, rob you. Give to the world anyway. The whole book was a message of the fact is you can let the world change you or you could change the world. We had a speaker at an event years ago, and he learned a lesson while he was in prison. He had 2 life sentences back to back. He's on parole now for life, but he speaks, and he was at one of our events, and he learned a lesson from a guy while he was in prison. He says, prison can change you. If you take a potato and you put it in water, the water changes the potato. You take an egg, you put it in water, the egg is changed. You take a coffee bean, you put it in water, the water changes. Think about that. So be the coffee bean. Be the one that you entered the environment and you change. So if fear is going to be there, be the one that you change. Every single successful school I've ever worked with, guys, still to this day feels fear. Fear of your staff hurting you. Fear of your students taking advantage of you. Sometimes you got to fire them, just like you have to fire staff sometimes. The difference is winning school owners recognize the fear and don't bury their head in the sand. Regret is a poison of society. I've never met a martial arts school owner who regretted taking bold action, even when it didn't work out perfectly. I've swung for many things that did not work out, guys, but 100% because I believed in myself and believed in my team. We all had confidence afterwards. I have met lots of people in my life, probably can't count, who regretted not asking the girl, who regretted not taking their Blackwell test, who quit too soon, regretted not opening their school, regretted not shooting for the next location or hiring the right person because fear stopped them. Those people I have met. So the more successful you become in life, here's what happens, the more controversy comes your way. I woke up this morning to some controversy. The thing is though, as you get older, and I've learned this from my dad, watching my dad age, I've learned something. The things that bothered him at 20 didn't bother him at 40. Things that bother him at 40 don't bother him at 60. The reason why is not because you just give up, it's because you actually see the world a little bit differently. And I'm seeing the world a little differently. And I used to, just because of martial arts culture, and I was raised and born, and I am a Christian, turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek, love anyway. And then I learned a different lesson. You can love the world by being the person the world needs. And if you claim to be a leader, you cannot run from conflict because the world's against you. You are favored by the God that you worship and the devil that you know. They both want you. And if you're going to be a leader, guess what happens? The bigger you become, the harder they come for you. Jealous people will come for you. Small-minded people will try to tear you down. And people once called you friends will disappoint you. Who's ever had that happen? I remember the first time I got to 300 students. You guys want to know what they said about Aaron? Oh, he's a belt factory. He's not doing real martial arts. He's doing that weapon twirling stuff. And I'm going to tell you, it hurt because these were peers, people I respected. I even tried to change things I was doing based on the gossip.
For everything I did that
Okay?
package to begin with,
So
it was
think
direct
about
response
this.
marketing for martial arts schools. There was how to use the internet to market.
Hit that button real quick. There you go. I tried to change. And then I recognized, like, oh, those guys don't pay my bills. And they're probably saying things because you know what? They've been running schools for 25 years and they're still making $20,000 a month. They just haven't figured out how to charge right, give value right. Funny thing is, you know what? A lot of those people eventually started copying my ideas. Probably didn't give me credit for it. Who cares? The reality is I would want everybody to be successful. I don't care who gets the credit. The lesson for me was build the dream anyways. Winning's contagious. The more you win in life, exactly. And a lot of them, even Michael owned the school and called me and said, hey, buy my school so I can work for you so we can do better. Okay. Winning's contagious. When you start winning in your business, you'll start winning in other areas in your life. Winning creates freedom, not just financial freedom, but obviously that happens. You get freedom of time, freedom of choice, and freedom to teach how you want to, when you want to, with who you want to. My goal in life is I work with who I want to, when I want to. When I want to fire a client, I fire a client. When I don't want to work with somebody, I don't work with them. I'm not a slave to the dollar. Life's too short to do that. Well, Aaron, how do we pay our bills? Man, when you have a belief like I have, God's going to reward me either in this life or the next life. So I choose who I want to work with. I choose who I want to teach. When I don't want somebody in my school, when I don't want to work with a business owner, I'm not going to. And so, like, are you becoming a slave to the dollar, or is what you say freedom of time, choice? Are you finding a way to have success so you can have that? Leadership and sales will change everything in your life. Are you actually a leader confronting the problems that you have, the skills you're missing? Are you just trying to chase financial freedom, which makes you a slave to the dollar? Surround yourself with the people who fit your future, not your past. I'm going to say that again. Surround yourself who fit your future, not your past. And then I've got two more things. And what I want you to hear, guys, I want you to have one thing you heard today that you can apply to your next staff meeting for inspiration, motivation, or just sometimes to plant the seed, or the next time you're talking to a 15-year-old kid who's trying to figure out what they want to do with life. You know what that 15-year-old kid's worried about? Pleasing their mom and dad. Dad wants them to go to LSU. Dad wants them to go to University of Georgia. The kid wants to not even go to college. The kid wants to go to military. The kid might want to go teach for you because they're inspired by you, but they have their dad in their ear and they love their dad and they don't want to disrespect their father and they shouldn't, but they don't have the courage to say, Dad, that's not my dream. And they'll wake up at 37 years old chasing someone else's dream to realize I was trying to please my dad, not me. And all your dad wanted for you is for you to be healthy and happy and chase your dreams. Parents on the call, if your kids go full out, committed to their dream, aren't you happy to see that happen? What you don't want them to do is be mediocre, halfway. If Jackson wants to do martial arts the rest of his life and he goes all in for it, great. But if he's teeter-tottering on it and doesn't really know, that's what makes me have fear. Fear doesn't go away. One person, one conversation, one encounter That's all it takes to change your life. Here's a scary and a pretty amazing and free thing. You're only one moment away from everything you ever dreamed of. If you're in an unhappy marriage, you could fix it today. Don't have to leave it. If you have an employee you're not aligned with, you could fix it today. You have a student or a member who's not aligned where you're going, but you want to help solve them and get them on the right path, you could fix it today. You don't have the money, the relationships, the skills, you could fix it today. You have to attract the right people in your world, and next is you got to have the hard conversations. And you got to be willing to speak exactly with what you want in life, who you need in your life. And here's the thing is everyone I've ever done this with never asked for anything in return. Maybe respect, some accountability to that. But there's a lot of people that I know you guys have helped, never asked for anything in return. There's a lot of people who could call you today and ask you for something you wouldn't ask for anything in return. You're only one moment away, one decision away. Why is that important for a 15-year-old to hear, guys? Do you know what 15-year-olds think about when they have no other decision in front of them? When they can't please the right people and they're confused in the world they live in today? They think of hurting something or somebody, and typically themselves. There are kids inside your Christ school right now. You are their savior right now. They don't need less of you, they need more of you. Some of you guys were that 15-year-old kid at one time. My owner's on the call. Sometimes you have a staff member you don't even recognize. They're going through some hard stuff at home. You don't know what they're dealing with all the time. They don't tell you everything. And they need you as much as you need them. So I'll finish the message with today, and I'm going to shift gears and go to business. God has invested entirely too much. And even if you don't believe in God, I believe in him enough to believe for you. God's invested too much in you for you to be comfortable in anything less than what you're created to be. Man, we lost freaking warrior and James Cox. 55 years old, I believe. Way too damn young. Still too many lives to impact. You never know when your last day is, guys. I teach every class as if it's my last class I'll ever teach. I taught a class last night. Fucking fire. You guys wish you could take my class. Not because I'm the greatest martial artist of all time. You will fall in love with martial arts when I teach you. You could be a white belt, black belt, pink belt. The whole room, even the parents, are in the palm of my hand when I teach. I'm on fire. I transform when I start teaching. That is my church. Problem is I don't have enough people in front of me. I know I change lives. I know I have, and I know I will. But one day it will be my last class. So I teach every class as if I'll never teach again. One day, guys, it'll be your last time talking to somebody. It will be. It's coming for us all. That's the one thing I can guarantee. Death and taxes, okay? Remember this, God has invested too much in you for you to do anything less than be who you were made to be. Not the version you are right now, not the version you can be tomorrow, the potential that you know is inside of you. You guys know, like Matthew's doing great on his stuff online. Everyone sees him. He's inspirational for me. The audience is too small. You guys have 200 students in your school, too small. Lakin has, 160, 170 students, a female leader running a school. Amazing to have that. Somebody who's a real martial artist, real passionate, too small. She needs 15,000 students, 150,000 students. That's for everybody on this call. Let's don't play small. All right. I'm going to shift gears here. Please have one thing you heard from me today that you can impact somebody you're going to communicate with later today. I'm going to share a screen with you guys. I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions you want to. Okay. Pull up this file. Some of you guys might have this book. And if you have this book, because it's not in print anymore, you better hold on to it. It's valuable. All right. We called it the Green Bible back in the day. There's a red version of it now. Can you guys see this real quick? I'm gonna try to zoom in on this one page right here. Can y'all see this page right here where it says job responsibilities by role? Let me explain this to you guys. This is what I created, and I run a version of this even to this day. In one karate school with 100 students, you need one staff member. That one staff member should be the owner slash operator. 100 students should be a teacher, a salesperson. You do everything. Now, you can take two approaches. You hire the next person when you're ready, or you hire the person before you're ready to grow them and you into the role. With the school with 150 students or 200 students, you should have a head instructor. Their responsibilities are basically here. Okay. Know the curriculum, earn their black belt if they haven't, right, in your system. They have progress of the students. They have to be a mentor and a leader to all students. They work on upgrades, be in line with the program director, and review and debrief with the Power Five daily. You have a sales manager, a program director. This is with 150 students roughly. Program director does all lead generation, management, and follow up. They do the sales procedures. They work on the upgrades with the instructor. Schedule 20 appointments, conduct 15 a week, be in alignment, debrief every day, check your software, make sure it's current. Everybody's responsible for daily social media posts. Our instructors post it in the private group every day. Information, education. Sales manager, program director does public. Daily personal development. You don't work for me if you're not going to work on yourself. Keeping the school neat and clean. Eating sushi off the mat was our rule. Attend all staff training. Maintain professional attitude. Report any all issues to our team lead and management. Being kind of courteous at all times. Okay. Now, if you're going to have multiple locations, these people report to, we call a team lead or your store manager. If one store, one of these two people operate. You have three or four or five or six stores. This is in one school. Then you have a manager for that area. Okay. And if you notice above this instructor, there's this little dot. It says operations director, director of sales and marketing. That actually is a position. So with six locations, you would have a director up here. And then you have someone under that person. All they do is work with the instructors. That's your operations. Then you have someone over here is only doing in charge of all the salespeople. So if I had six schools and I have six salespeople, I've got someone, it could be one of those six, is in charge of just that's their boss, right? They report to. If I have six schools and six instructors, I have someone who's my chief instructor. And then those two people, they're your highest management, they report to the person up here, and that's typically going to be the owner. Okay. And then you have responsibilities under it. Now, that is about as simple as process as you need. The question is, well, Aaron, what about assistants? Yes, you can have hourly assistants that support, and we can go through that. But a lot of times you have too many people, too many hands in the pot, and it creates confusion about who's responsible for what. And what happens when you have confusion? Nothing. I always visualize walking into a jewelry store. For men, we start sweating. Women get excited. And they say, "Oh, are you here to buy a ring for your special lady?" I'm like, "Sure." And they say, "Well, look in the showcase." And there's 50 rings. And the men look around, they're like, "Okay, I like that one. How much is that one?" $55,000. What? It looks like 5,000. What about this one over here? Oh yeah, that one's $2,700. And it's like danky little thing. You're like, "Oh, I can't get that one." Then you're like, "Okay, I'm good." You look around a little bit. You know what the men do after that? They leave. Because the salesperson didn't ask the right questions. But if you go into a real jewelry store with real salespeople, they don't say, "Look in a showcase." They already see the sweat beading on your forehead, Matthew. They know you're already anxious and nervous. And they say, "Oh, what kind of ring are you looking for? Do you know what she likes?" Great. "Hey, did you have a budget? How much you want to put towards this?" You give them a number, 5,000. And they'll show you three rings. They'll show you the $4,500 ring. They'll show you the $6,200 ring. And they'll show you the $14,000 ring. Do you know which one you probably end up buying? The $6,200 ring. It stretched your budget a little bit. You know you're not going with the cheapest. And you want to get the one up there, but you know that's a little too far-fetched. They picked for you because they already knew the objections walking in the door. So same thing here. I already know in a karate school, I've got to build for profit. We already know that some of you guys aren't doing that first. We know how many people it takes to do this, and then we create roles based on what actually makes sense. And we don't want to create confusion with our team because our team will have confusion and do nothing, and then we're doing all the work. Who's ever felt like you're doing all the work for your team? And then you're the one making no money doing all the work. I see those hands. I see those hands. And that's what creates burnout. So you should evaluate, does your organization of your company build your future, or is it only good for right now? And is it even good for right now? Okay.